You know, I'm a huge fan of some other thing that you're a part of.
Couldn't tell.
No, it's coincidental.
It's not a Batman t-shirt, let's put it that way.
What can you tell people, though, the status of like what's going on? Because I've heard that DC is hard at work developing a Superman sequel, and I'm curious where it's at.
I'm having a lot of conversations behind the scenes with certain people, and we will hopefully be having conversations with other people who are also behind the scenes to make things start happening. It is very much in my desire to do a Man of Steel 2, a direct sequel to Man of Steel.
Sure.
And there's a whole bunch of Superman story that I want to tell. There's a whole style of Superman's character that I'm very keen to tell.
Sources have exclusively told The Hollywood Reporter that Henry Cavill, who has played Superman in 3 films, is parting ways with Warner Brothers, though neither side has confirmed the news. Cavill first appeared as the iconic DC character in 2013's Man of Steel, and then starred in 2016's Batman vs Superman and last year's Justice League. Warner's had been trying to enlist Cavill, who most recently co-starred in Mission Impossible Fallout, for a Superman cameo in Shazam, which stars Zachary Levi and will drop April 5th. But sources say contract talks between Cavill's reps and Warner's broke down. A Warner source cites scheduling conflicts as the reason the Shazam deal fell through, with Cavill recently signing on to star in the Netflix series The Witcher. However, another source says that the Witcher commitment came after the Warner's impasse, suggesting a change in Warner's strategy. The window for other potential Superman appearances is also fast closing, as the studio has shifted its focus to a Supergirl movie, which will be an origin story featuring a teen superheroine. This effectively removes an actor of Cavill's age from the storyline's equation, given that Superman would be an infant according to DC law.
In a statement to The Hollywood Reporter, Warner Brothers had this to say about the story. While no decisions have been made regarding any upcoming Superman films, we've always had great respect for and a great relationship with Henry Cavill, and that remains unchanged. So that certainly cleared everything up. Honestly, this statement confirms or denies absolutely nothing. At the moment, it seems Cavill is still involved with the DC Cinematic Universe, but it sounds like a game of contract hardball between the Man of Steel and Warner Brothers is now being played out in public. We're not sure who's going to come out on top, but if we had to dip our toe in the fight, we certainly hope that Cavill gets to keep wearing the red, blue, and yellow.
This is sad news, because I like Cavill as Superman.
I like Cavill in general.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I'm open to other people playing Superman, Green Lantern, whatever. Let's keep Chadwick as Black Panther for a while. But, you know, I'm open to the idea of, but Cavill is a human being. I love him. He's everything I want to look like. He sounds like everything I want to sound like.
Beautiful.
And if you follow him on Instagram, it's just like pictures of him with like some adorable dog, or him running and talking about how, with all that muscle mass, how hard it is for him to run.
It's hard.
And I just
That's
love
why
that.
I don't bother working out anymore.
Yeah, me too, dude.
Because I
mean,
need to be able to run at a moment's notice.
Yeah. And I love him. I love him. I love him. I love him, love him, love him, and I want to see him in everything.
Henry Cavill, if you don't know it, he is my favorite Superman. I grew up in the late 80s and early 90s, so I came after Christopher Reeve as Superman, so I really didn't get into that. I watched it when I was a kid, but I really didn't get into it as much. I just really could not enjoy the grainy film and all that as much as a lot of other people did. I love Christopher Reeve as a person, as a character. He looked great as Superman. It just wasn't my Superman. My Superman has always been Henry Cavill. As soon as they announced him as Superman and showed images of him, I got so excited. It's the only films with Superman that I've ever gotten emotional watching. So whenever I heard that he might be out today, I got pretty emotional. Took to Instagram, took to Twitter with my feelings. So if you happen to read any of those, I apologize for any of my rants that you may have seen, but I was not very happy when I first read about Henry Cavill being out.
To me, Henry Cavill is simply the best Superman. All due respect to Christopher Reeve fans and all that kind of stuff, absolutely iconic forever. But to me, you know, Henry Cavill is the best Superman I've ever seen. And part of that is because he is the best Superman for our context right now and the era that we live in. He was the perfect representation of Superman.
All I know is I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated because you have a guy who, when I see him, regardless of the reception of Man of Steel or BVS or Justice League, he's Superman. I think he's a great Superman.
He was a really good Superman. He had the physical, tense facial expressions to be Superman. He was good. He was all right. He did good in Man of Steel. He didn't do... The shows never worked out with Batman vs Superman. Justice League was okay. But they ruined him on Justice League with the CGI and everything, so that could be a part of it. But it's really, really not good at all, the situation going on there with DC. And we liked him. He was a good actor. The role of Superman was fantastic for him. Don't know what's going to happen in the future right now with the DCU. What do you think, people? Are you upset that Henry Cavill's on the way out, or are you going to be hoping that he might not be? I'm hoping he's not going to be on the way out, but it depends on Henry Cavill himself.
What's happening, everybody? Jay Shockblast here, and the HollywoodReporter.com is reporting that Henry Cavill is out as Superman in Warner Brothers' whole Justice League DCEU world, and I have to say I'm pretty disappointed because I thought he made a very good Superman.
I don't even know if I want Henry Cavill back, though.
See, I do. Here's the vote. You say no, Cavill. You're cool with him if he gets recast.
Yeah,
you want him back?
Cavill.
Yeah, Cavill.
I'm not saying recast, but reboot the start of this.
Yeah. Listen, last point here, great point in the chat here. Batman Begins. Man of Steel made more than Batman Begins. What happened after Batman Begins? We got The Dark Knight.
Right.
You know why? Because they focused on the character. They developed, they massaged the story, and we got arguably the greatest superhero movie in The Dark Knight.
Obviously, a lot of people love Henry Cavill as Superman. I do. I think he's a terrific Superman. If I had to compare with all the Supermen that we've had in the past, Henry Cavill personally is my favorite. But it looks like right now, it looks like negotiations and talks have broken down. And it looks like, as of now, Henry Cavill as Superman is on ice.
I hope that Henry Cavill's still Superman, and if he is or isn't, that's up to him and Warner Brothers. But let's not report these things until they're actual news, not hearsay rumors that have no actual proof. I don't want sources inside the studio say, fuck that. You know what that means to me? That means somebody made some shit up. You can tell me there's an actual source. I don't believe you. You're lying to me. Stop lying by writing sources say. Your sources are lying. You're lying. Stop it. Stop lying about Superman. Stop lying about Henry Cavill. Tell some real news.
This video is for Henry Cavill. First of all, a big thank you for your hard work and dedication as Superman, a character I grew up with since the mid-1990s. Ever since Man of Steel came out, I have come to the conclusion that Henry Cavill is Superman on screen and off screen. So once again, thank you, Mr. Cavill, for your hard work and dedication, and you are Superman, so thank you.
If this is the way they're gonna treat, you know, the guy who's like badass, great Superman. I was a huge fan of Man of Steel, one of my favorite films of the decade. So good, and you know, hopefully this isn't real.
I hope he doesn't leave Superman, because I actually like him, and I'm not a Superman fan really. Like, I've seen Man of Steel, I've seen Batman vs Superman, I've seen Justice League, so I've seen all the movies that Henry Cavill's been in as Superman, and he's done a pretty good job, I have to say. Obviously he mopes around quite a bit, but yeah, I'm not the biggest Superman fan in the world, and I do like his performance as Superman though.
I personally want to say I hope that this isn't anything for me to be worried about, because if I thought he was definitely walking away from the role, I would be worried, because who else are they going to get? They'd probably pick someone really stupid. I think that he plays the role really well. He looks well in the suit. He's a good actor. You know, it's not even that you could say, oh, he looks cool as Superman, but he can't act. He can. He's a really, really good actor. And Man of Steel was such a fantastic movie. I absolutely loved the whole story. I loved him in it. The action was absolutely fantastic.
Why don't you tell me what you thought of on the day when you saw that?
Oh, I got angry.
Okay.
I got really incredibly angry.
Did you see it coming though?
No.
Okay. Go on.
I think he's the best interpretation that we'll get until the next like 20 years.
Of Superman.
Of Superman, yes. Like, the physical representation. I'm sure people can voice him and be great at it, but that's in cartoons. He is, in my opinion, the live-action Superman that we have right now, and the one that we should continue using. And the fact that he's going to be out makes me incredibly angry, because he has never once been given the material needed to show everyone that he could do this job.
Yeah. I think that Henry Cavill is the right type of actor with the right type of feel to play Superman, and having him be gone is just... it's a waste, to be honest with you. I mean, the one scene that encompasses what makes Henry Cavill so special as Superman, the deleted scene from Justice League. Superman goes into the Batcave, sees Alfred, he says like 3 words to him, and just looks at him, and I'm getting goosebumps talking about it, because the way his screen presence is that of Superman. He just gives off this Superman vibe. It's like this weird otherworldly charisma that he has, and I can't really describe it that well, which is weird, you know, because I'm talking about it, but it's just this thing that he has, and that is why I would say he is the best live-action Superman we've had ever.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of the Christopher Reeve Supermans, R.I.P. However, it was a different time back then, in both media and
culture
and acting.
Yeah,
even
everything around then that time was just different. But what really gets me is like that charisma you're talking about. Henry has that, like, even in real life.
Yeah,
I follow him on social media, on, like, on
weird.
Instagram, and he's just that way all the time.
It's intangible. It really is.
Like, when they casted him perfectly.
But now it's just up in the air whether he's going to be Superman at all in the near
which is
future.
unfortunate. I really like his Superman portrayal.
Man, he sure as heck just looked and acted like what you thought Superman should be. I mean, since Christopher Reeves hasn't been Superman, it's been like, wow, that was really, really good. Yeah.
New actors, a new Batman, a new Superman, and it'll suck because I really like Henry Cavill as Superman. For this modern era, he's the best one. I enjoyed him, and it really sucks to think about that. Justice League was his last, hopefully not, was his last movie as Superman.
In terms of this Henry Cavill thing, I think it's insane. I think he's a good Superman. I think he's someone you want to keep going forward. I think he could work going forward with them and make things work and make another Man of Steel and put him continuing to be Superman. I think he can make it work. It's just, can they, you know, put all the pieces together? I really don't know if that's possible.
I'm a huge Henry Cavill fan. I think he's, for me, been my favorite Superman. No offense to Christopher Reeves. I love Christopher Reeves. For this era, for me, Christopher Reeves is just a bit more dated, that movie. Now, as Superman himself, I think Henry Cavill, for me, is my favorite Superman. I think Christopher Reeves is my favorite Clark Kent. Now, we didn't give Henry Cavill a lot of time to be Clark Kent, so it's hard to, you know, have that debate in a fair manner. Now, some people were like, well, maybe Warner Brothers just put this idea out there to see how the fans would react. Well, if they did it for that reasons, I think the fans pretty much made it perfectly clear. Henry Cavill is the cornerstone, the rock, the most popular person in the DCEU.
Anyway, on to the main event. Fucking Henry Cavill is not playing Superman anymore. Look at this guy. He's a fucking god. Look at that jaw. Look at those muscles. Look at that fucking perfectly curly hair. Look at that stash. It's fucking almost as good as mine, boy. Almost. Hell, he's almost as fucking good looking as me.
Henry Cavill, during talks to make a cameo in the upcoming Shazam movie, apparently they completely fell apart, and Henry Cavill has decided to part ways with Warner Brothers and will no longer be playing the role of Superman. And so I think this is a strong move for Henry Cavill. He's a good actor. Man of Steel was a good movie. It's been pretty downhill from here.
Warner Brothers was trying to get Henry Cavill into Shazam. So that would have ensured that we saw more Henry as Superman if they would have got a cameo in there. It's what I begged for. It's what I was hoping that would be in the Shazam film, and now that's not there. Why? Due to scheduling conflicts with Henry Cavill, talks broke down. I think Cavill is like the 9th Superman, so I get that Superman is recast. I understand that. But I felt Henry did such a good job in Man of Steel, and he never really got a chance to be the Superman that we all wanted. God, help me. Help me, please. Help me. And I was wearing this shirt, and I was like, fuck you, WB. I wish DC could separate from WB, man. I think that's where it is. There's too much studio involvement, all right?
But you know what? I hope it's Cavill. I really want him to lower his price and do that damn Shazam cameo. I want things to work out. I've come to enjoy him in the role of Superman, and I loved what he did when he was cut loose and cast appropriately in Mission Impossible Fallout. Plus, again, he has built up an incredibly strong fan base.
He needs to do that. He needs to do that Captain Marvel that Shazam cameo. Because, I mean, Danny Garcia, his manager, said that he wasn't available, but really, I think he wanted too much money. He can do it. I mean, the movie Shazam doesn't come out until April 4th, 2019. I really don't want him to get replaced or kicked out, but just tell me what you think. Anyways, see y'all.
I'd love to see him have a cameo in Shazam. I think that'd be awesome. I think it'd be great. It's funny though, the fact that WB got Henry Cavill first, but they've been losing him to everyone else. Like, the reason that whole mustache thing happened in Justice League was because of Mission Impossible and the contract that they had with that. And now with this, again, they had him first, but because of The Witcher, they're missing him out in Shazam instead of having this planned way ahead of time. It's so stupid. If they would have had their priorities straight, this would have been fine. It would not have been a problem, but as most of you guys know, Man of Steel is my favorite comic book movie, and I'm a huge Superman fan. He's my favorite fictional character of all time, and I love Henry Cavill's Superman. Besides Man of Steel, he hasn't really had a time to shine, so if this happens, I would be very sad and very disappointed, because I think he is the perfect Superman. He looks just like him. He's a really good actor. I think he pulls it off well, but he just hasn't had the opportunity to really shine yet, I don't think, because a lot of people don't really give him as much praise as I think he should get. So yeah, I'd love to see more of him.
Henry Cavill wanted to be making so much money. Warner Brothers, they wouldn't pay him. That's what it boiled down to. And all I have to say to that is just pay the man his money. He's a franchise player. Pay him the money. Show him the money. That's all I gotta say. Give him the frickin' money. He's Superman. He embodies Superman. I liked him in Man of Steel.
That Shazam trailer, it looks more and more charming every time I watch it. I mean, but I'm real fucking mad. That would have been a cool cameo to have fucking Superman pop in at the end, and he's like, "You're Superman," and like tie the universe together.
There's a great beat in the comic. I'm not entirely sure where it comes from. I've just seen these pages online of when Superman goes to the wizard to inquire why the fuck you would do this to a boy. Because Superman, of course, gives a shit about Billy Batson. Right. Like, why would you make this 10-year-old boy act like an adult? Why don't you let him be a boy? Why are you going to burden a child with this much power and this much of a secret? He's like, well, the magic has rules. He's like, I've heard enough of your fucking rules. Like, that's a child, and you're endangering a child. And that kid is alone, and he's scared. And then the next scene is Clark Kent finds Billy Batson in the fucking, like, tenement building he's squatting in, because, again, he's a fucking orphan. And he goes, sits down next to him, and, you know, Billy's a little fucking jittery. And he's like, listen, I know what it's like to have a secret that you can't tell anybody. If you ever want to talk, if you ever need anybody to lean on, if it's ever too much for you, you can talk to me. He's like, why the fuck should I trust you? And then he opens his shirt and just shows the Superman logo. And it's like, if that was that fucking cameo, then I'm sad it couldn't happen.
You just made me cry. God, that's really fucking beautiful.
I feel bad for him because I like Henry Cavill quite a bit. Like, I think he fucking reloaded his arms in Mission Impossible Fallout.
He was supposed to do a cameo in Shazam because Shazam looks up to Superman. That didn't work out. I don't think he wanted to do a cameo. Why would you want to do a cameo? You were Superman. You deserve your own movie. So I don't blame him. Here are my thoughts. Henry Cavill leaving, that's fine. I don't want him to leave, but I don't blame him. The guy got one movie that I think is fantastic and deserved a sequel. No one else. Don't give him a sequel. After Mission Impossible Fallout, your main thing that you should have been doing is we need to get a Man of Steel 2 involved, because one of the best parts of Fallout was him.
Yeah,
one of the best parts of Man from U.N.C.L.E. was him. And now he's signed on to the Witcher series for Netflix, which is going to take about a year of his life to finish.
Warner Brothers wants to basically push Superman to the side and focus on Supergirl. Yes, they want to make a movie, Supergirl as a teenager. You don't push out Superman movies to make a Supergirl movie. I mean, why won't you give the fans what they want? I think generally a lot of people like Henry Cavill as Superman. I like Man of Steel. I liked it quite a bit. Why didn't you just make a sequel to Man of Steel?
The Supergirl shit. The announcement came out, a couple of weeks ago, where they're developing a Supergirl story, and people already like, nobody's asking for this. I know they're trying to write off the cocktail of Wonder Woman, but you already got Wonder Woman. You don't need Supergirl. Nobody wants a Supergirl. People have been asking for a Man of Steel sequel for fucking ever. Every time they ask for a Man of Steel sequel, oh, you got a Wonder Woman sequel. Oh, you got a Shazam movie. No, we want a Man of Steel sequel. No. You got Suicide Squad. We want a Man of Steel sequel. It's like, just give us the fucking Man of Steel sequel. If you guys just look around my room, I got a Man of Steel poster. I got a Superman cape. I got another Superman logo here. That's Superman from Man of Steel, the black suit. And you got another Superman logo. I love Superman, alright? That's plain and simple. And I love Man of Steel. And I love Henry Cavill as Superman. I love him. And this hurts. This hurts more than my first breakup.
I don't know about them focusing on a Supergirl movie, because there's already a Supergirl show. I liked Wonder Woman and I liked Man of Steel. I know a lot of people didn't like Man of Steel, but I thought the fighting in it really captured Superman, and of course Henry Cavill was Superman, and he looks like Superman, and he's a good actor, so I thought he was perfect for that role. It's strange. It would be like saying that in this next Avengers movie, somebody else is going to play Thor besides Chris Hemsworth. Like, that'd be the weirdest thing ever, and it would make the movie just feel really weird.
There's no reason you can't have Henry Cavill in the Supergirl movie. Like I said, it works on the Supergirl television. You have this pre-established character. You made him more of the Boy Scout in Justice League. Why wouldn't you just have him in that movie? It doesn't make any sense to me. Now, the next point, they're not going to do a Superman movie anytime soon. I mean, that just seems ridiculously boneheaded. I mean, I think Man of Steel is a great film. The gross on that movie was really good. The thing that's really crazy to me is I think everyone's clamoring for a Superman movie. I think the Man of Steel movie, especially when it was rumored to be done by Matthew Vaughn, would have been absolutely amazing.
I personally think that they should not be shifting focus to Supergirl. Probably they're trying to go the route of, oh, Wonder Woman did so well for us. Let's now focus on all our female heroes. I don't think it's exactly an issue, but I just don't think that she I just don't think that she has the following that a Wonder Woman does, and I don't know if it's going to work out. I thought that Henry Cavill did a stellar job playing the type of Superman that he was supposed to be in that world. A Superman that was unsure of himself, a Superman that had these godlike powers but was feared by humans. They didn't know what to think of him. He didn't know how to accept this new role in his life of being this quote-unquote type of savior. Henry Cavill, from me to you, actor to actor, I saw what you did in Mission Impossible. You are going to be completely fine no matter what. And you're one of my favorite Supermen no matter what.
Rumor is that Henry Cavill, which I thought was an excellent casting for Superman,
is out. And on top of that, Warner Brothers wants to focus on a Supergirl movie instead of Superman. Hardly anybody watches the Supergirl TV show. Why in the hell would you be forcing a movie on people that don't want it? We're still waiting for you to develop Superman. Stop screwing with the DC Universe, Warner. Jesus, give it to somebody else. Anybody. Sick of this.
Of all the shit Warner Brothers has done in the past, I never would have thought they would do something as pathetic as this. I'm sure you have all heard about it at this point. Warner Brothers have fired Henry Cavill and he is no longer going to be playing Superman. And after going back and forth for so long now, it has also been confirmed that Ben Affleck will no longer be playing Batman anymore. But to throw salt in the wound and to demonstrate their so-called competence, Warner Brothers said that their main priority is to make a Supergirl movie, despite the fact that for years we have all wanted a sequel to Man of Steel with Henry Cavill. Now Warner Brothers are deliberately trying to stir up a controversy here. They are going to do exactly what Lucasfilm and EA have done. They are going to call us out as sexist for not adhering to their corporately inspired Supergirl movie, and honestly, I don't care what they say. I do not want a Supergirl movie. After dropping this bomb on us, that is a bloody insult.
I think that Warner Brothers would be fucking stupid to get rid of him. Because he's one of the things in the DCEU which is actually liked by a lot of people. Henry Cavill as Superman. I see no reason to get rid of him. I know this might be part of a contract negotiation that's going on, trying to squeeze him for less money. Because I think he thinks he's worth more than they're prepared to pay. So this is part of that negotiation, according to Grace Randolph. I did watch a few different videos to just get an idea on what other people are thinking. But I think he's a good Superman. I like him. I don't think there's anyone better out there to play the role at the moment. So I think they should stick with him. I liked Man of Steel. Minority opinion also that I liked Justice League. I did not like BVS, but that's just my personal opinion. But I think he is a good Superman. And I heard some people saying, oh, Michael B. Jordan might be cast. Michael B. Jordan as Superman. No, don't do that, please. That would not be a good choice.
There's also discussion about who should replace Superman already, and it seems like Michael B. Jordan is the first person that's going to be the tryout for the Superman role in the next DC movie about Superman. That is one very intriguing choice for the DC company to pick up Michael B. Jordan as the next Superman role, since he's a very great actor, as he's worked on Black Panther as Killmonger and also the Creed, and Creed 2 is coming out very soon. He's a great actor for those, but I don't see him being Superman in any type of way. Maybe I'm wrong, I just don't see it. Plus, there's also discussion about a Supergirl movie in the works. So that's going to happen. We're going to have Supergirl instead of Superman, and then once we do have Superman in the DC universe once again, it'll be Michael B. Jordan, not Henry Cavill. Okay, seems kind of weird, due to the fact that Henry Cavill is maybe one of the best Supermans ever we've had in the movies for DC.
If you want a black character, if you want an Asian character, just create that. Just create that, just make something new. But in this case with Superman, you know, you cannot have a black actor known as original, and you cannot have it as a replacement of the already original. You just cannot have it because it's just gonna make a bigger mess. You're just gonna disrespect Superman's character even more. He's not even fully developed yet. He was brought back to life, and that was not even explored because he doesn't have his own movie, so we can see how he feels, how he's gonna be like more light and cheerful now. We were expecting for him to become more like Christopher Reeve Superman now that he's you know, back from the dead, but that's not gonna happen all of a sudden. And I just think that Warner Bros. Have to use Superman till he's still, I mean, Henry Cavill, until he's still young, because he looks very young. He's like 35, but he looks very young. He's a great actor. I mean, he's becoming more great as he goes, you know, as he has more experience in the movies. And you don't want to lose that. You don't want to lose that. So Warner Bros. Needs to sit on their freaking corporate asses and think as a fan, think as, you know, as someone that loves the comic books, appreciates the material, and wants to create that to bring that to life in live action movie on the big screen.
Man of Steel is a really good movie.
Just based off soundtrack alone, that movie is absolutely perfect. What do you think is going on at Warner Brothers? Do you think this is a good decision? Do you think this is a bad decision? Do you think that Warner Brothers is making a mistake? Who do you want to play Superman? Is Henry Cavill your only Superman? To me, he is. Look, Michael B. Jordan is a very beautiful man. I know that. He was awesome as Killmonger, but I can't see him as Superman when Henry Cavill is the quintessential Superman.
I don't agree with Michael B. Jordan playing Superman. To me, I've never seen him in a role where he says Superman to me, you know. I would be fine with Michael B. Jordan playing Earth 23 Superman, but you see, that's not good enough. It's not good enough to the SJWs and to the left playing a black Superman. That's not good enough. We want to race change the Superman, because that's the Superman that the general public identifies with the most, and that they respect the most, and that they love the most. So that's the only one that black kids are going to be able to identify with. I don't agree with this. Superman was originally created white. Get over it. But that's how it is. That's how everyone knows the character. Superman is a worldwide icon. He is the flagship character of DC. He is the flagship and face of the DCEU. I personally love Henry Cavill's Superman. To me, he is my Superman.
Michael B. Jordan reportedly being considered to replace Henry Cavill as Superman. No. Absolutely not. So, we don't know if Henry Cavill is actually not putting on the cape again. At this point right now, I want a second Man of Steel to continue that route, because I think he is a very good Superman.
Henry Cavill, for me, did the best job for the role of Superman since Christopher Reeve, and I guess they didn't realize that. I don't know what the hell is going on with their mind anymore, guys. And yeah, they even think to recasting Henry Cavill as Superman with Michael B. Jordan.
And I've been sitting on this Superman ever since the news broke that, you know, my boy Henry Cavill was going to be out as Superman, and I really have enjoyed him being Superman. I like his portrayal. I like his vibe. I like who he was. I like that it was more of an updated Superman. So him being out, I'm like, okay, cool, but what are you going to do now? And then the news started floating around that Michael B. Jordan, my boy cannot be the next Superman. No way. Now, have there been other black Supermans in other alternate Earth? Yes. You got Tangent, you know who's another Superman. You got Calvin Ellis, who kind of looks like Obama. That's kind of stupid, but you know, he does. Now, I'd be cool if they find their next Superman and they also have their next Superman going to alternate realities, you know, alternate Earths and stuff like that, and seeing these other versions on his travels. Cool. That's what it is. But as being the main Superman of this Earth, no. How about chat of race bending and race changes and gender swapping? How about keeping them as is and just bring other characters over? And you know, we got John Stewart, we got Cyborg that's transition over. You got Mr. Terrific that's been horrible on TV. We got Steel, you know, we got Firestorm, you got Vixen, Black Lightning, which is on TV now, Aqualad, Static, you know, Bronze Tiger, Icon, Hardware, Rocket. I can go on. DC got a whole stable of black characters that you want to bring to the movies and TV. Cool, bring those over.
I'm so drained. You know, I just read it, and you know, my heart just sunk. You know, because I'm a huge Superman fan. Huge. There is no other hero or character in comics that goes before Superman, in my opinion. I don't care what nobody say. Don't argue with me on this, because you're going to lose. I don't give a fuck. And Henry Cavill did an amazing job. Amazing job. And he wasn't used properly, you know, with the level of work that they got, you know, supplied so far. They never should have came out with a Batman v Superman. I mean, not that soon. After Man of Steel 1, they should have did a Man of Steel 2, or call it Superman, or call it Last Son of Krypton, or something like that. You know, but you go from that to Batman v Superman because you stupid fucks was trying to catch up with Marvel. and not look at you. They don't know. They don't know if they're coming or going.
We're still pushing forward with, you know, the Flash, and we got Wonder Woman 1984, aka Wonder Woman 2, and we got the Aquaman movie. We might as well say goodbye to Aquaman. That shit's a hit. Is there a possibility of him getting number 2? They can replace his ass too. Might as well, you know, keep replacing everybody. Say goodbye to Gal. You know, she had a good run. She was in 3 movies, probably filled her contract. Peace out, get the fuck out. This is what we doing? Y'all messed this up, DC. Big time. Y'all dropped the ball. I should have known. I was gonna fuck some shit up. I should have known from Batman vs Superman. That should have been the sign. Instead of making Man of Steel 2 with the Batman cameo, and then you make a Batman movie, and then you make a Wonder Woman movie possibly after that. So you got your big 3 established, and then you bring them all together for a Justice League movie, because you can drop the cameos of the Flash and Cyborg or Green Lantern in one of those other movies. But no, this shit right here, Henry Cavill, we finally get a really good ass Superman. You know, somebody that's relatable. And y'all do this shit? Man of Steel was fire. It's in my top 10 best superhero movies. Finally got Superman that was kicking ass. We finally got to see Superman like really throw hands on the big screen.
Look, first of all, everyone's asking for a Man of Steel 2. Because let's face it, that was their best movie. Man of Steel was the best DC movie, in my opinion, that they've made so far. So I feel as though there's a big clamoring for a second Man of Steel movie, and they're really missing the boat on this. I mean, how much older do they want this friggin' actor to get before they start production on his second movie?
That's the thing too, man. They have nothing. They're not prepared for anything with the Superman script-wise or anything like that. I heard like production, like it could be like 4 years away.
That's insane.
You know, it's too long.
Now, I got to tell you that I think Warner Brothers is making a big mistake here letting Cavill go. Finding the right actor to play Superman is not easy, and they had a good one in Cavill. Fans love him as this character. Now, the new DC films often get criticized as being overly dark and moody and underperforming at the box office, but the movies that Henry Cavill appeared in as Superman performed really well, and the numbers don't lie. Man of Steel made $668 million worldwide. Batman vs Superman brought in $873 million worldwide, and Justice League earned $657 million worldwide, and he wasn't even on the poster or in any of the trailers. I guess I'm just really disappointed once again by the way Warner Brothers handles the Superman property. They never seem to give the character full credit, therefore it never reaches its full potential on screen.
But he's an awesome Superman. It'll be fucking basic if they lose him, man. And then they start again. Like, they don't have a foundation, you know what I mean? Warner Brothers, DC, you know, again, you change a character, especially someone like Superman, you just don't have a foundation, man. And people, you know, it's going to be hard to get to know a new character, a new Superman, new portrayal. Yeah. So it's almost like even if you're not starting again, you're starting again. Yeah. Marvel was smart when they done their contracts. They were like, all right, you're tied with us for 10 years, done. Yeah. And they picked the perfect characters, and they you know, laid out the timeline and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. DC, man, like, if they've lost Henry Cavill, man, I think that's a basic fucking move, man. I think that's a basic move, to be honest with you.
I'm quite I'm actually upset. I was upset when I was reading the news because I think he's great. I thought Man of Steel was a great movie. I know since Snyder got pushed out of the project, DC have just been fucking up. And I love the properties that DC have, man. They have the potential to do great things, man. They have the best, you know, what part of the world that you can go to that nobody knows who Superman or Batman is, bro. You know what I mean? That's the thing they have.
I want DC to do well, man. I want to see these characters to do well. I want to see more content. But then if you're losing your character and you're starting again, fuck, man. It's just kind of like, man, you're ruining it for everyone. Like, just work with your actors, work with the content, and figure it out, man.
Fucking Warner Brothers, you need to value what you have. You know, and I even said that about Snyder, because it's like, you guys realize that he was trying not to do what Marvel was doing. He was doing his own thing, and it seems like people are kind of wanting more of that now. Like I said in my Cavill videos, and this goes with Affleck too. No matter what people think about the movies, they like them as the characters. They embody the characters. Yes, Christopher Reeve is like the pinnacle Superman Yeah. But that, like, golden age Superman, yeah. Cavill looks very similar to him, and he's just the Superman of now. He embodies that.
Warner Brothers do not know what they're doing with Superman. When Man of Steel first came out, I was so excited for the film. I went to go see it. It blew my expectations. I love the film. I don't mind if I don't care if no one else liked it. It got mixed opinions, but I personally thought it was the return of form for Superman. I did not like Superman Returns. I didn't. Man of Steel was my return to my love for Superman.
What's the S stand for?
It's not an S.
How about super?
Excuse me.
When the world finds out what you can do, it's gonna change everything.
You okay?
And that only got better with Dawn of Justice. Dawn of Justice, not a perfect film. Definitely not. I'm not saying that. But Henry Cavill as Superman was still great.
And this is another thing that I have to respect Cavill for, is that he really does try to do his best to pay homage to these characters, and he does very passionately care about the roles that he takes and wanting to do right by both the fans and just, you know, deliver the best that he can. So I'd give him a lot of props for that. The problem is that he has just become aware that the studio that he works for, at least in this case, just does not know what they are doing. Cavill, to my knowledge, wanted to still play Superman.
Yeah, it's like this entire WB Cavill debacle has been, you know, so like frustrating because, you know, it's like Cavill, you know, I'm a big Man of Steel defender. I will defend Man of Steel to the day I die.
It's very hard to make a good Superman movie without him looking corny. And I think Henry Cavill did a good job of not making Superman look corny. You know, DC, man, y'all gotta get it together, man, because I know a lot of Superman fans out there are pissed.
Fans are pissed at this. I'm pissed at this. I went into Man of Steel thinking it was going to suck. I didn't like the marketing. I felt Warner Brothers overplayed their hand. This is not something that's out of the norm for Warner Brothers and marketing. And I went into the movie thinking this is going to suck. I walked out going, goddamn, I loved it. Went back, saw it again a couple days later, and it solidified itself as one of my top films of 2013. Still is. I love this movie to this day. I love the themes. I love what they did with it, and I was so hyped for Batman v Superman. Theatrical version sucked, obviously. Extended cut really gave us a bit more story and a bit more of Clark, which I really, really liked. And then Justice League, well, Justice League was Justice League, and Justice League was Warner Brothers on a deadline when they should not have honored that deadline. They should have pushed it. Things would be a little bit different.
Just right now, I can't tell you how many times I saw hashtag fuck WB.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, people were pissed. That's for sure.
And it was lit up all over social media. All over social media. This guy has a presence. Keep him in your stable. Okay, WB, get a story, get a director, get him back right now.
How are you gonna lose your main guy that started the DCU and Henry Cavill is a top draw and how big he's becoming a star and how everyone loves the Superman franchise and what he's done, and they're just low key like just stabbing people in the back of what they're doing, and then they're making excuses of but conflicting issues and trying to use words to make an easy way out so they could get out of a situation that they're 100% totally in fault of. We're about to go into 2019 and we still haven't got a Man of Steel 2.
Despite the controversial stuff that Superman of Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and the Dawn of Justice has done, I have no real complaint on Henry Cavill's part. He played the role damn great for what he was given. He did pretty darn good. So I truly believe he does deserve the pay that he deserves to get. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed with WB. I'm disappointed in the outcomes. I'm not disappointed in Henry Cavill because if personal matters are aside, the guy has a lot on his plate. And when he was doing Mission Impossible, I wish WB could have done something about that. Hell, and one of the comics ideas with Superman is that he came back with bushed up beard and long hair with a black suit of Superman when he came back from the dead after fighting Doomsday. They could have gone with that instead of CGI'd the crud out of his face to get rid of his mustache. Oh.
Worlds of DC, whatever the fuck it is now, alright? It's just one of those things where they're all over the place, and they, hopefully this is a negotiation thing, because that cryptic bullshit, Henry Cavill on his Instagram, the whole thing with the Krypton shirt. Tell me shit, man. I mean, I love you, Henry Cavill, but goddamn, they ain't tell me shit. But that's okay. Hey, you alright. I'm gonna let you make it because you're a great Superman, and I want you to come back, man.
This is my reaction to Henry Cavill no longer playing Superman in the DCEU. This news is disappointing. Henry Cavill, how come we won't see you as Superman in the DCEU from now on? You were the greatest Superman we've ever had, period. I'll go as far as saying Henry Cavill is a superior Superman to even Christopher Reeve. Don't get me wrong, Christopher Reeve is one of the icons of the 70s and 80s, and he was the classic Superman, and although he wasn't humanized like Henry Cavill's Superman, when Christopher Reeve's Superman had killed Zod in Superman 2, no remorse from him whatsoever, but Henry Cavill's Superman lets out a cry of sorrow and remorse.
And I'm getting on Facebook conversations this morning with people like some people that don't like him and whatever. And that's, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but everybody's referencing Chris Reeve. I'm like, Chris Reeve will always be my Superman. But Henry Cavill could have been a Superman of this generation, just like Chris Reeve was of his. He was cheated. I don't know if Brandon Routh was as cheated, even though I do believe that Brandon Routh probably did deserve a sequel. But the difference is that Brandon Routh, the whole film and his direction was to do a Chris Reeve impression. Henry Cavill gave us a fresh original Superman.
Henry Cavill's Superman is, dare I say it, the best Superman we've ever had. He is extremely talented, an extremely talented actor. He has the physique, he has the face, he has the voice, he has the character, he has the character down in terms of acting. He is a great Superman, and no disrespect to Christopher Reeves.
I think this is a grave mistake on Warner Brothers to even consider the fact that they can't work something out between Henry Cavill and themselves in a new contract. By doing so, they're going to lose a lot of fans that already love him as the Man of Steel. Yes, there's been a lot of back and forth between, oh, he's not the greatest Superman, or he didn't live up to expectations of Christopher Reeve. But this version, I personally love this Superman. I love this version of the Man of Steel, and I believe that they need to keep it going.
The general consensus is Henry Cavill is an amazing Superman. Like they see him as Superman, and I think this might be blasphemous to say it, but I think he makes a better Superman than Christopher Reeves, and I love Christopher Reeves as Superman. But Henry Cavill, he has the very definition of what Superman is, right? Like the physique, the presence, and then even in Justice League, he was able to sort of show what he could be like as a hopeful Superman. And you have Superman right now in a glorious position where everybody respects what Superman is in the movies. So why not make a Superman sequel?
What do I think about Henry Cavill? He, in my opinion, he did one of the best portrayals of Superman ever. Superman is my favorite superhero, followed by the Rocketeer and then Spider-Man. He had big shoes to fill, coming from a Christopher Reeve fan, and he did amazing. He's perfect. His face is perfect. How he imagines Superman, New Age Superman. Also, how his body type, almost no padding on his Superman suit. And Man of Steel, amazing movie too. He portrayed this like a year one Superman perfectly. And even in one scene of Man of Steel, when he's fighting the terraforming robot, when he's looking up, you can see it's paying homage to the Christopher Reeve Superman version. It's sad that he could not complete his story arc, so hopefully we're gonna see him again as Superman.
I think it's a shame that he got so wasted.
Agreed.
Cavill? Yeah, because I think he's a fucking great Superman. I like, this is gonna sound cheesy, but especially a post 9/11 Superman. You know, like you can't do Christopher Reeve anymore.
He can't be that much of a Boy Scout.
What's the reason?
No, but he's just so pure. He's so pure, and I don't want to sound like an anarchist or whatever, but like people often cite 9/11 as like, oh shit.
When the world
there
lost
is
its innocence.
horrors in this world
Turning
and
point of the
stuff.
modern
You know,
world.
it's a big thing, and I feel like it would be disingenuous to be like, here's Superman. He's just gonna fly around solving all the world's problems and not looking through dresses. You know, like I thought Cavill had a great edge to it. I like Man of Steel setting him up as kind of, I don't know really what I am, but I feel compelled to do this thing, and I'm gonna try. But in doing so, look how much I fuck up, and like that. He had a good arc that they could have gotten through over the course of 3 movies if they weren't so ready to come. Basically, like they were like desperate to premature ejaculate, and then turned it into Justice League immediately. There could have been a really cool Superman trilogy there.
Do you feel that Henry Cavill is a good Superman?
He's okay.
Comparatively to Brandon Routh when he was Superman Returns for that one time?
See, Superman Return kind of sucked too.
It really did, because they were just trying to mimic Christopher Reeve's Superman.
Exactly. Is that the same thing where you know, like even Christopher Reeve, was he good Superman?
Wow. Really?
Well, the Superman character is, you know, the all-powerful, boring as fuck. Like
he's not really boring as fuck.
No, he doesn't have a personality in the movies.
Well, that was the whole bit. I actually don't mind Henry as Superman. I Man of Steel, which I probably will take a lot of heat for, and you can do that at Droids Canada. Tweet all your heat to me there.
Tweet the heat.
I think that Man of Steel was a good movie.
Man of Steel.
I mean, realistically, when you compare it against Christopher Reeve Superman, merely a fraction of Superman's powers was seen in that original series.
I personally thought that Henry Cavill was a really good Superman, so I'm actually a little saddened by that. Like, I wanted him to be the Superman, you know, for a while longer, but oh well, I guess.
Well, I mean, like, I think the problem is it's like a lot of people were raised in the 70s and they have an image of Superman in it, and that's Christopher Reeve.
True.
And like nobody can replace that character to them in their minds. So, you know, it's just hard to replace that character to some people, you know?
Yeah, that is true. I mean, like, I know a lot of people feel that way.
I just wanted to come in and rant a bit just about how much of a mess the DC Universe is in right now in film. We've already had Ben Affleck basically bowing out of the Batman role, but now they've let Henry Cavill get away. I am furious. I think it's probably the best term. I don't know if I look it, but I'm sort of struggling internally to sort of bring my words completely out how upset I am with this decision and the fact that Warner Brothers let Henry Cavill go. He is a fantastic Superman. He hasn't been allowed to be a full, proper Superman yet. He was still building to it. That's the whole point.
We both have said it. Henry Cavill, I think, is great.
Yeah.
I think he's awesome. It's the script. It's the writing.
Yeah.
It's
Has
the
there really
writing.
been a bad Superman? Christopher Reeve has his fans.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Brandon Routh.
Brandon Routh has his fans.
Even
the kid for, Tom Welling has his fans. And people who say that Superman's not interesting, why the hell did we have 10 seasons of Smallville for?
Yeah.
We had 10 seasons of Smallville.
Let's talk about this real quickly. If this is true, if we do not get another Henry Cavill Superman movie, I'm going to honestly say that I'm upset by this. I'm very upset by this because damn, do I think he is such a great Kurt Swan Superman. Now, I've seen reports over and over and over where people were like, he was a great Superman, but he didn't have the material to live up to him. Now, I get that. He has been in very, very problematic movies. I like Man of Steel.
So do I.
I like Man of Steel, and I think Man of Steel only has 2 problems. Man of Steel's 2 problems are the way they kill Pa Kent, and then the 20-minute buildings just falling into rubble.
It's a long movie, and it feels long.
That's it. Cavill, in the last 20 minutes of Justice League, is amazing. He is Grant Morrison's Superman come to life. So to not give him Man of Steel 2 or another movie where he could be in Superman, even Justice League 2, to me is to me it's like robbing Daniel Craig of a James Bond movie after Quantum of Solace.
I'm one of the people that like Zack Snyder's vision for the DC characters in the Justice League, even though that did not become fruitful for him for a variety of reasons, but I'm not going to get into that. But I liked Henry Cavill Superman. I'm a huge fan of Man of Steel. The more I like Batman vs. Superman, I like it. You got Superman who was discovering his powers, trying to stay hidden, trying to find his place, trying to do the right thing, trying to do right by his parents, trying to learn and do right by his culture, trying to see that whole journey be maximized, be fruitful, and come to, you know, a full story arc, which we didn't get the full story arc completely because, once again, of Justice League.
Henry and Affleck were my favorite parts of the whole universe, and you know, I just don't know what to think right now. I feel like I have no reason to watch anymore. I'll just stick to reading comics, because at this point I don't feel like supporting Warner Brothers Pictures, WB. I don't feel like supporting them because it's like they don't really give a damn about us, so why should I support them, you know? This really sucks, man. I really enjoyed Henry Cavill as Superman, and you know, if WB wasn't trying to, you know, listen to the bloggers and critics and shit like that, man, just stay on course with what Zack Snyder was trying to do with Superman, his character development, we probably wouldn't be in this situation right now. But WB pussied out, and this is where we are at. It's unfortunate because I was really looking forward to Aquaman and Wonder Woman 84 and Shazam, but at this point I could care less anymore about those movies. I'm sorry, I just don't care. I don't give a fuck about those movies anymore.
News today is that Henry Cavill is no longer Superman in the DCEU, or whatever it's called. This is, to me, very, very sad news. Now, one of the things that I loved in the DCEU was, of course, Henry Cavill as Superman. And I think even though some people didn't like some of the portrayals because he was more gritty and, of course, is a darker Superman, but I thought he portrayed the role well. And given the chance to get that full development of Superman we're hoping to see, we got some in Justice League, but not the full breadth. Now, to me, what I think sets us apart is that as a Superman fan, you've been waiting for a Superman movie for a long time. I got Man of Steel. I love Man of Steel. I think BVS was good. There's Rector's Cut. Justice League, we know how that turned out. That was terrible. But this is just something I think that they've done a poor job at just doing right. Casting Superman is not an easy thing. It is difficult. The one thing Snyder did very well was cast his roles quite right. He cast Wonder Woman, he cast Superman, he cast Batman. I think he did a good job there, but it seems like they don't know how to move forward.
While these characters are bigger than the actual actors, I think we didn't get enough, and we didn't get to see these actors play the role to its full potential, because these are some great actors, perfect casting. You know, Zack Snyder, big fan of Zack Snyder. He did a lot of these castings years and years ago, setting up the foundation for what could have been a great DC universe. Something that was way different from what we had with the Marvel universe, which is another great universe. I love Ben Affleck. I love Henry Cavill. Man of Steel actually is my favorite superhero movie of all time, and this is just some heartbreaking news.
I love Henry Cavill's Superman. You could say whatever you will, but I'm telling you my opinion. I think that Man of Steel is one of the greatest movies. I absolutely love Man of Steel. It's a Superman movie that I have always wanted to see, and I love how Henry Cavill plays Superman. Now, have they written Superman in some weird ways? Yeah. Have they made him a whole lot angrier and meaner and dour than they should have at times? Probably. But you know what? The story, the overall story, I think, made up for that. And at the end of Justice League, say what you will about Justice League, at the end of Justice League, you see Superman's story come to fruition. And so from here, we were promised we're going to move on, and now we're going to get the Superman that we've always hoped for and longed for and knew could be. Now we don't know if we'll ever get to see that. And here's where I'm at. If you get rid of Henry Cavill, if you decide that Henry Cavill's got to go and he's not going to be Superman anymore, I'm done.
I was just saying that this morning with DC Sun about the fact that the biggest problem with Henry trying to continue as Superman is that they never really got him as we wanted to see him. Everybody likes him in the role. Everybody likes him as Superman, just they never really got him in the right zone. Like, the closest we got him as the Superman we wanted to see was in that trash-ass movie, Justice League. And that's the problem. There's still too much of what went wrong in that movie to have him continue. I still think they could have done it, though. Man, I'm fucking mad. Okay. Ugh.
If they remove Henry Cavill as Superman, that will be one of the biggest injustices ever committed in cinema history, because you had a great person in him. Now, don't get me wrong, people think that he was a shitty Superman, some people think he was a great one, mostly because of the way that Zack Snyder had depicted him. Me personally, I loved the take on Superman, and growing up, Superman was always this 100% Boy Scout, all-powerful guy who never really had it rough and was never, a question as far as a moral compass. He always made the right decisions. And as far as I'm concerned, this series humanized Superman so well in Man of Steel. The point I'm making is you're getting rid of one of the best picks that you had for a modern Superman. I dug what they were doing short of Suicide Squad, and I really disliked the fact that they did a half-assed version of the Justice League film, not keeping in tone with what Zack Snyder had wanted and all this stuff. When I had seen Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, I knew where he was going. I could envision the trilogy being completed. Of course, tragedy struck. Of course, people kept on being naysayers and jerks and condemning the way the films were being done, the darker tone, this, that, blah, blah, blah. But Henry Cavill, throughout it all, was not a mistake in that series. If they do end up confirming that he is fired or that he has departed the role, I'm totally done with Warner Brothers.
There was a video I did where I stated, that the way Superman was portrayed in Man of Steel, I said it wasn't my Superman, but I thought it had potential. I never had a problem with a conflicted Superman in Man of Steel because I figured we'll get a couple of more Superman films, and in those films, we'll get to see this version of Superman evolve. And that with Henry Cavill, as in the role, we would get to see him portray this character and portray how the pain of this character's past allows him to grow into being the Superman that we know. And I think it's a shame because I think he would have nailed that performance. He would have given the character of Superman a more humanized and complex depth than we have ever seen before on film. But we never got to see that, and now we never will. And the reason we never got to see those Man of Steel follow-up films is because Warner Brothers got greedy and they wanted to just rush into Justice League. I may have had mixed feelings about The Man of Steel as a motion picture, but I had absolutely no mixed feelings about Henry Cavill as Superman, or as an actor. I thought he was a perfect choice for the role. Now, you might say, but we did get to see him be that version of Superman in the Justice League movie. But we only saw it because the studio mandated it. We never got to see the films where he builds the confidence to finally settle the inner conflict and become the Superman that we know. And once again, I think he would have been great in those films had he gotten the chance to be in them.
Like I said, I liked Man of Steel. I liked Batman vs. Superman. I have problems with it now, but I still liked it. And I liked Justice League. I have problems with Justice League, but I still liked Henry Cavill a lot in the movie.
It's a shame, you know, if it turns out to be true that, you know, things couldn't get worked out with him and WB, because I know he really loves playing the character. So, yeah, I don't know, I just can't really say much right now. Just kind of disappointing that things couldn't work out. But I do want to thank Zack Snyder for casting him, because like I said, he's my favorite Superman, and that's how I found out about Henry Cavill, was through through Man of Steel. I just want to thank Zack for giving us these great films with Henry as Superman. And I don't know. It's sad.
And honestly, if you saw like the reactions from everybody, it was not just the fans. People who despised his films as Superman were all up in arms saying that this was the wrong move. Like, you shouldn't be letting a guy like Henry Cavill go. I mean, it was trending worldwide. Yeah. There's no doubt about it that it created a lot of noise, a lot of anger, a lot of sadness from the fandom, because Superman's like the bedrock of the DCEU, and Henry Cavill was the first superhero of this universe. So if you lose Superman, like Samir said, you lose the DCEU. That's it. You know, like, it's not much you can build on. Of course, you have Wonder Woman, but Superman was the center, especially because the first trilogy of the DCEU was all centered on Superman. You know, his birth, his death, his rebirth. It's a whole story going on. And now suddenly you're out of a Superman with intentions of casting a new one.
Dude, let's be honest. They with this ride would have been a little bit more smoother if they just let freaking Zack Snyder make his film.
Exactly.
Let's be honest. It all goes back to Justice League, the ripple effects of Justice League. It all goes back to that. They messed up.
Yeah. So I agree on that. I think Zack Snyder, if you look at, like, you know, every universe has like an architect, someone who's like leading it. You have Kevin Feige working it with Marvel, and then you had Zack Snyder working at DC, and people don't give Zack Snyder enough credit, because when he was running the ship, it was running smoothly. Did he have like a contained like 5-film universe? Yeah, he had his own film universe, but when that became opened up, he also had Patty Jenkins working on Wonder Woman. He had
The Flash, he had Aqua, he had freaking Shazam, Part 2 Justice League, Cyborg, Green Lantern, like everything.
All that was in,
I think the character was written very distant, and I think if that was the intent of Zack Snyder, I think Cavill did that well. And I actually think you can get a sense of emotion in Cavill. He doesn't seem completely dry of emotion. He's not cartoony or anything, but I think the characterization still works okay in that case. So I don't think Henry Cavill has ever really fully had a chance to shine as Superman.
From everything I know when it comes to Henry Cavill, he is actually not a bad actor. He is a very good actor. The thing is, he was a great Superman. Too bad the films were not the best. They really weren't the best. But his portrayal of Clark Kent, Man of Steel, is amazing, and from everything I've seen so far, especially his voice, he can definitely do a really mean voice. Like Geralt's kind of voice, like very deep, very relaxed, so we'll see at the end how he's going to look like. But honestly, even though he wasn't my first choice, I'm actually okay with Henry Cavill being Geralt of Rivia.
I thought Henry Cavill was a great Superman. Okay, sure, maybe he was a bit dark and menacing at first, but in Justice League I think he really started to lighten up, and he started to show a lot of iconic Superman characteristics.
But if I win, you're off the team.
Ben Affleck has also been really shaky about his involvement recently, and it wouldn't surprise me if he too follows Cavill in stepping down as Batman, which again I feel is really hurting an already wounded series of films. Affleck and Cavill are some of the greatest parts of the DCEU at the moment. So yeah, it's a shame. I haven't been overly positive about the DC films recently, but I thought Cavill and Affleck specifically are easily their standouts in terms of portrayal.
When I heard all of this, I just took a step back and I thought about it, because I was kind of shocked. I was like, no, he's a great looking Superman. Henry Cavill can act. You know, I think when I think of him, he is like the epitome of what I picture peeling the character off of a comic book. But if you just think back to the last 3 Superman iterations we've had, they've all been something I have not liked. I did not like Man of Steel, so I'm not really looking forward to a second Superman movie. I did not like Batman vs Superman, and I didn't like Justice League. Well, so it's just
you know what the connecting string of those 3 movies is?
Zack Snyder.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
You know what's funny? Everybody trashes that director, the director Schneider. That's his name, Schneider. My favorite movie of his, bar none, hands down, is The Watchmen. Because I had never seen a superhero movie that well done before. They were always campy and, you know, corny. You know, the lines were horrible. The Watchmen was like a drama movie based on superheroes. And it was shot as so. That's why I was so excited to see Superman. And he gave Superman that like realistic, much more realistic, not campy Christopher Reeve stuff, which I loved when I was a kid, I'm not gonna lie. But he gave it more of a realistic dark edge to it, you know what I'm saying? He is bananas, he's awesome. And he did himself a favor getting away from those DC morons. That's my opinion. Can you imagine a Snyder Avenger movie? I'm a Marvel guy, but above Marvel, I'm a Schneider guy. I'm a Zack guy. That director is beyond words. To me, you know, Henry was Superman. He was the perfect fit, the perfect find. You know, he's got great acting chops, and he was just perfect. He was perfect. And all these people that they're saying that they want to maybe give a shot to do Superman if Henry doesn't do it, none of them look like Superman to me. None of them. Anyway, I'm out. So take care. Henry, if you don't play Superman anymore, that's going to suck, and I'm not going to watch any more DC Superman. So it is what it is. Peace, y'all.
What do you think of this whole thing? Let us know.
Of course, Henry Cavill should stay on as Superman. He's the best incarnation of Superman we've had since Christopher Reeve. There's no argument about that. Everybody who says otherwise, with all due respect, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So, in a nutshell, of course he should stay.
All right. Ziad?
Yes.
He should stay.
He should definitely stay.
Booty?
I don't give a shit at this point.
All right.
No, come on, give us an answer. Yes or no?
Here's my answer. I think that this DC universe clusterfuck that's happening has ruined the idea of the Justice League, has ruined the idea of Superman, and I'd like to see him as Superman in, I don't know, like a new
Right, so you think
Superman.
he should stay?
I think he should not stay with whoever's directing, managing, producing. I think I want him as Superman. I don't think, and you said it right, he is the best incarnation of Superman, but
so it looks like it's
the movies are so shit.
The 3 of us versus you, and
I don't know about that.
Well, let me tell you what I think. I don't think Henry Cavill is the best actor in the world, but I like him and I think he has charisma. And I think he's a good Superman. He looks the part. I think the movies he's been in have not done him any favors. Yeah. Man of Steel, when it first came out, I didn't like very much. Now, in retrospect, it's a fucking masterpiece compared to the garbage that DC has released. But Batman v Superman was shit. Justice League was shit. At this point,
I think you're being a little harsh, dude.
Can I just say something here? I love those movies in the sense where I got to see these characters go at it, and I enjoyed them so much. But would I watch them again? I would never watch any of them again.
I have watched them over and over. And listen, what you were saying, Anthony, was like, I agree that when Man of Steel came out, I did not like it. And I made that very clear to the gang.
Now I like it a lot more.
I watched it again, and, you know, over time, I realized that the reason I didn't like it at first is because I was such a diehard Christopher Reeve, Richard Donner, Superman.
Yeah, and those are classics. The first two, at least.
Right, the first two were classics. But then over time, I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, this Superman can't all be smiles and hope, and he has to struggle. He has to be a little dark. He has to kill. There has to be some collateral damage in the city.
He has to kill.
He's a fucking super alien. Of course, there's going to be damage, and those movies grew on me.
Ben's in rehab. Like he's out. He's all but confirmed out.
Oh,
so
it's time to get Big Ben the fuck out of here.
So what?
I've had enough.
Oh, I mean, he's already out. So
I've had enough.
But now Henry Cavill, who I thought was a good Superman, just given bad situations. I thought Man of Steel was okay. I thought it was cool. Batman v Superman, he hardly had any lines. They didn't know what to do with Superman. Clearly, Zack Snyder wanted to make a Batman movie, and then Justice League again. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing with Superman? So I did think he was a good Superman.
Yeah.
With all this craziness, me personally, I don't think Cavill is checking out completely. I don't think he has said fuck Superman. The guy obviously enjoys the role, enjoys being part of it. And I feel like we just finally got to see the real Superman in Justice League. Me being an apologist for some of that film, while I understand it's not the greatest, it's not perfect, I'm a huge advocate for Superman. And in being that, I love him in this role now more than ever. I enjoy Man of Steel. I liked that movie, and I thought Henry Cavill was a good fit.
The fuck? Henry Cavill's not playing Superman anymore? What the fuck is this? No Batman, and now Henry Cavill, the best thing in the DCEU, is not gonna be there anymore? Fuck.
If Warner Brothers think that Henry Cavill will not be a success anymore as Superman, then I have to say they should just stop making their movies. Do you agree with me? Man of Steel is still one of the greatest superhero movies for me, and Henry is the best that we can get. Period. There's no argument in that. They're constantly giving us fans trash, and we deserve better. It's like they don't care about the fans anymore. Instead of focusing on the movies that the fans desperately want, they are doing trashy movies, like the Joker standalone movie, which to me is a no-brainer. You cannot handle one film universe, and now you're trying to build another. Wow, man. Honestly, guys, I didn't want to do a video like this, but I cannot hold my frustrations. It is literally killing me. Because I loved Henry as Superman, and I loved Ben as Batman, and now that they are both going, and I'm feeling very hopeless. Honestly, I don't know what to say anymore.
I'm kind of done with fucking DC, for real, and that's heartbreaking for me because I grew up with DC comics, particularly Batman, Superman. My favorite comic storyline of all time is the death and return of Superman. And I'm still holding out for that great live-action Death and Return to Superman trilogy. I think it can be done. If I was a filmmaker, that would be the one comic book storyline I would love to do. Henry Cavill is a great Superman. He's easily the best Superman since, I want to say, Christopher Reeves. Nothing against Brandon Routh, who did as best of a job as he could, given Superman Returns. I remember liking that movie back in the day, but...
Alright, look, I'm going to say this for the record. Animated DC films, I got you. I'm there. DC Comics, I'm loving it. I got you. I'm there. Old school DC films, I got you. I'm there. But how are you gonna delete, remove, or let my man Henry go? You need to be throwing all the money at this man because he started this. Regardless of what you think about Man of Steel, if you hate Man of Steel, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but it is a masterpiece. It is one of the best Superman movies, and part of that, the essence behind that, the heart behind that, is Henry Cavill. I'm done. There is going to be a reckoning. I have a project that I talked to Jarrell Alexandria about, and it is surrounding the Snyder Cut. And mark my words, I'm definitely going to do it now. So, stay tuned for that.
For fucking months now, I have defended every piece of your guys' rumors, your guys' announcements, your guys' developments, your production, your pre-production, your movies, because I had faith that you guys would get your crap together. That time is over. I cannot stand by and watch you guys destroy what was starting out to be one of the greatest film franchises of all time. When I saw Man of Steel for the first time, my thought was, this is the start of something great. And then, you guys told me Batman was coming. Ben Affleck blew me away. As you know, the Batman vs. Superman poster right behind there. One of my favorite films of all time. And now, we're sitting here talking about how you let this man right here go.
I know that someday Cavill will hang up the cape and boots and never put them on again. And that's fine. All actors do that. But until he says so, until there's an official word, don't count what anybody else is saying. I know there are people that want Cavill out of the role, and there are those of us more like myself that feel like Cavill is perfect for it and just hasn't been given the time to really shine as the Man of Steel, as Zack Snyder's vision was turning him into, or as even Henry Cavill knows he has always all along wanted to play the character as a bright and hopeful Superman. As a side note, it must have been nice to be Henry yesterday and go, wow, so many people love me as Superman. And it also must have been a good way for Warner Brothers to gauge how much people actually want to see another Superman movie. Because the internet, like I said, it done got broken. I'm looking at you, Warner Brothers. If that doesn't tell you that we want another Superman movie, then nothing will. Open up your ears and listen. Open up your ears and listen.
Hopefully we will get to see him as Superman for several more movies out. And if that's not the case, we would love to see him one last time. And you already got that footage. You got it in your warehouse. I don't know where you got it. Maybe Zack Snyder has it. You got it. Release the Snyder Cut. That's where Superman is.
I love DC Comics, the stories you have. I loved what Zack Snyder had done, his plan, what he was going to do, but I don't like what you keep doing and injecting this stuff into it and then not doing what the fans want and not letting a director do their thing, okay? It's stupid. I mean, you guys messed up BVS. You'd cut out 30 minutes of the movie and then you blame it on Zack Snyder. Henry Cavill understands Superman. He's been so passionate. I remember seeing an interview, him describing the story, the comic, where it was all influenced from. And it's just like, what is wrong with Warner Bros? What more do you want? If the DCEU doesn't fix their crap, get their crap together right now. First thing, get Henry Cavill to a contract. Get Ben Affleck down, okay? If both of those guys are gone, I'm gone as well.
You know, if these rumors are true, I think that's going to be fucked up. Because Henry Cavill, and besides, you know, my DC movie opinion aside, because I think that they're fucking up in every way they can possibly do it, hiring Henry Cavill to be Superman was not one of them. That was something that was damn good. I think he is a great Superman. Now, whether they let him be that Superman in their movies, that's a whole nother thing. But hiring him to be Superman was probably one of the greatest decisions they ever made. I hope that Henry Cavill is still Superman. It's like, and the one thing that scares me about the whole thing is WB isn't putting out any kind of official statement. They're not coming out here and saying, oh yeah, you know what, we hear what the fans are saying. No, Henry Cavill is still our Superman. They're not saying that. They're giving you, or they're giving us some marketing bullshit, saying, oh, we wish him well and we have a great working relationship with him. That means fucking what? Not a goddamn thing.
If I'm Henry Cavill, I'm pissed right now. I'm major heated. Like, I come into Warner Brothers and you man are like, you want me to cameo in Shazam, but I'm not getting my own movie for another 2-3 years at best. Yeah, it's beef. Do you know why it's beef? Because I'm the Iron Man of this universe and you're disrespecting, man. I started off Man of Steel. Man of Steel is a lit movie, fam. Lit. Broken Sofa, 5 out of 5 on the Cyber Nerds website, fam. 30. Like, all the fans mad about that. Whatever, shut your mouth. You're an idiot. You get me? Then you hijack his sequel and throw Ben Affleck's Batman in there. Mm-hmm. Then you kill him off in a movie that's supposed to be a sequel. Then you bring him back in Justice League with 4 lines and it's just garbage and a CGI'd mustache, fam. And then you're firing your Batman. Like, just the level of disrespect, not just on Henry Cavill, just on how they're treating these characters, to me, is mad. I need Henry Cavill to be the Man of Steel. And I said it on Twitter a couple of days ago. I swear, but bruv, Sam put me on this boycott stuff, yeah? I swear, if Henry Cavill does not continue to be the Man of Steel, this current DCE universe, I am finished with. Man of Steel, to me, is such a masterpiece, that it will make me negate watching my favorite superhero in the cinema because of it, fam. I will not go and watch Aquaman in the cinema.
One thing I will say about Warner Brothers is that I feel like they're being very vague about everything, and as many problems as Warner Brothers has had with their movies and really everything tied to the DC universe or the world of DC now, they're really missing an opportunity here to just stand up and say this is what we're doing, and they're not doing that. So it's kind of bad on them. However, I am kind of hopeful because I do like Henry Cavill as Superman. I think he looks the part for sure. And I think he's done a very good job with a couple of the roles he's been given. I liked Man of Steel. I liked certain parts of him in Justice League too. So if I'm being honest, I really think that Superman was one of the highlights of Justice League. So I'm kind of hopeful that they can iron things out and that Cavill can keep moving on forward as Superman. Now, I do believe that if he doesn't, it creates a huge problem for DC because you just lost Batman, now you're losing Superman. You're talking the Justice League without the 2 main characters. It doesn't work. It's not going to work. If you lose Batman and Superman for your Justice League, you're done.
I acknowledge right off the bat that this could just be denial speaking. This could just be me not wanting to accept that maybe he really is gone from the Superman role. Henry Cavill, ever since I first saw Man of Steel in the theaters, has always been my favorite Superman. When I think of Superman, I think Henry Cavill Superman. I think he's been amazing in every single movie that he's been in as Superman. I would assume that if you didn't like Henry Cavill in Man of Steel or BVS, you probably thought there was some good potential there in Justice League for the future. But look, Warner Brothers, you cannot hire Henry Cavill. You can recast, or you can do Supergirl. But look at how many people you are going to make angry if you don't use Henry Cavill as Superman. Look at all the supporters he has. And most of those supporters, like me, are the people that have defended you, people who have been with you, who have stayed with you, who are hopeful for the future. And these are the people who are your most loyal supporters that you cannot afford to lose right now. The way I take it, the way I see it, is Henry Cavill was just telling us that he's here for the fans like me. And our response helps him be Superman in the future.
So I'm just, because of my last question, I just have to throw this at you. If they did offer you Justice League and they offered you a Superman sequel, which is the one that gets your attention?
Look, completely hypothetically, I feel like you really got, Superman's got more, you got to get Superman a little further down the road.
Because they've talked about that
before you can do a Justice League movie.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Because I was going to say that they've talked about Justice League for 2015, and that seems a little soon for me. You know?
Yeah, I don't know who they are.
That's what the studio is talking about. So I guess you're saying that you could see yourself doing a sequel and then perhaps.
I don't know. All I'm saying is that you got to get Superman further down the road. Yeah.
You know something? I completely agree with you, and I hope that you have the juice to make what you just said happen.
Well, this time you get to see the soul of Superman a lot more. And he's had a life experience where he hasn't had lots of friends or anything, and he's lonely, and no one can empathize with him. He's still a good man, very good man, but he's got that edge to him, which is loneliness. And it's quite sad, and at points you feel quite sorry for him.